Hello everyone and welcome to Arvind Upadhyay show. And in this episode, this is totally sponsored by Entrepreneur Line Legal. I will give the sponsors link in the description box so you can check out the product and services related to Entrepreneur Line Legal. So we are going to talk about everything about in this episode about how to set up a private limited company in India basically. So if you are planning to be an entrepreneur, starting a business is exciting and is scary, but can also be very confusing. There are the lots of the plan and consider before you start your own venture. Before you actually start on your own, you need to decide what types of the entity it will be. And in this episode, we are going to talk about private limited venture and private limited company. If you want to own the business entirely by yourself, you may register your business as a sole proprietorship, and alternatively you may also register it as a partnership. But if you want to separate your personal liabilities from the company's liability, then you should go for the private limited company registration process. And the type of the business structure you will choose, you will impact how much you will be the pay in taxes, amount of the paperwork required, and amount of the personal liabilities you will require to face in. Here in this episode, I am going to assist you the understanding the private limited company registration and the process and its advantage. In the particular, keeping in mind that India now has the third highest number of the startups, incubators, and is rated in the world after China and United States of America. So initiating your business with the legal entity is extremely essential for us. There are the lots of the benefit for the registering your company as a private limited organization, and you may also consider consulting a corporate lawyer for the same thing. Moreover, setting your business up a private limited company is for the most convenience way to go about it. So first of all, understand what is the private limited company. Understanding the private limited company is a privately held company for small businesses. This type of the businesses entity limit the owner liability to the shareholding. The number of the shareholder to can be 200, and minimum shareholders and minimum directors at private limited company can be only two. And there are the two type of the private limited companies: a private limited company limited by shares. In this type of the company, the members liability is limited to the amount of the unpaid on share held by them. Second one is a private limited company by guaranteed is one where number of the liabilities is limited to the amount that they have agreed to undertake and type of the winding up. So what are the benefit for the private limited company? First important benefit is limited risk. So the shareholder of the private limited company have limited liabilities, meaning that a shareholder you will be able liable to pay for the company liability only for the extent of the contribution that you have made. And second benefit is legal entity. So a private limited company has the distinct legal entity from you, meaning that the company is responsible for the management of its own asset and liabilities, creditors and debitors. However, you are not responsible for the same thing. Therefore, the creditors cannot proceed against you to recover money. Second, the third important thing is business continuity. So private limited companies enjoy permanent succession because the company is its own legal entity. Shareholders and employees act as an agent of the company, so they are not going to promoters are not going to run the company. The company's management team and directors going to run the company. Fourth important benefit is raising fund. So although private limited company registration come with the multiple compliance requirement, it is desired for the entrepreneurs as it's a help raising fund and raising capitals as a through the equity, at the same time restrict the liabilities. So if you want to raise capital, and if you are searching for the fundraising for your company, then you must go for the private limited registration. And trustworthiness, Indian companies are registered under the act of the register of companies, ROC, and corporate affair. Moreover, anyone can check the details of the company as well as the directors through the Ministry of Corporate Affair, MCA official website. Therefore, a private limited company system of the business is more trustworthy, so anyone can trust on the private limited company is easily comparison to other companies. other registered companies. So trustworthy is the most beneficial for the private limited company registration. And six important things is tax advantage. Tax advantage is, in addition, is limited liabilities. Private limited company even enjoy tax advantage. So they pay corporation tax on their taxable profit and tend to be exempted from higher personal income tax rates. Forming a company instead of continuing as a sole trader or sole proprietor opens the door to more tax deductible cost and allowance redeems against profit. Private limited companies advantage over public company. So first of all, private limited company, a minimum number of the shareholders required is 2, while for the public limited company require of the minimum shareholder is 7. Second, public companies is required to disclose its financial report to the public every quarters of the year as it's affect public investment, while private limited companies are not subjected to any such compulsion. So third, management and decision making is more complex and confusing in public companies as a more number of the shareholders are to be consulted. However, this complex procedure is eliminated in private limited companies as the number of the shareholders are less. So fourth is like public limited companies require a minimum share capitals of the 5 lakh to, whereas for the private limited companies earlier minimum number of the share capitals as 1 lakh, but now there is a no such minimum compulsion. You can register your company without any types of the share capital, therefore there is no pressure of the fund requirement to registration for the private limited company. Fifth is confidential information such as execution compensation, legal settlements, and other essential information cannot be kept reserved in the public companies. Such information is more secure in private limited companies. Therefore, the private limited companies is a lot less complicated than the public companies, and moreover, it's a comparatively less expensive and less time consuming to register as a public limited company. However, the principal advantage of a public company is that it can raise fund at a larger scale without approaching bank and reducing debt. While the private limited companies, all are the fund are raised existing members, shareholders. Public companies are once registered, get indirect promotion and support through the stock exchange websites where their stocks are registered. How long does it take to register a company? So the complete process of registering a company include approval of the name, director identification number, DIN, and the incorporation, which usually take around 3 to 4 days approximately. And the approximation time taken as a follow: approval of the name through the form INC1 takes 6 to 7 days. Allotment of the DIN through the form DIR3 takes 1 to 2 days. Incorporation of company through INC 7 and INC 22 takes 7 to 10 days. There are therefore all put together, it's take around 15 to 20 working days to register your private limited company. The following documents you can require to be submitted. First important document you are going to require: PAN application, and second is TAN registration, and third important is filling e-form with the registered of companies ROC, BISO, EMS, and digital identification number. So digital signature certificate, and a name approval including one resubmission, drafting and memorandum association by the MOA, and articles of association AOA, and issue of certification of incorporation. Lastly, include government fees and stamp duty up to Rs 1 lakh authorized capital. Now we are in the last phase of the episode. So what we was talking about, the process for the limited private limited company registration. So what are the process for the private limited company registration? Step one is an obtain digital signature certificate. So DSC, you need to understand, obtain digital signature certificate. So digital signatures are required to file the form for the company registration. The registration process is online and form required a digital signature. Digital signature certificates is mandatory for all the subscriber and witnesses in the memorandum and article of association. You must obtain the digital signature certificate from the government recognized certifying agencies. The cost of obtaining the digital signature certificate differs depending upon the certifying agency, as well as you must obtain the either class, second class, and third class category of the digital signature certificate under the class 2 category, and identifying the person is verified against a pre-verified database under the 3 category. The person need to present before registering authority to prove their identity. And step 2 is the apply for the director identification number, that we know as a DIN. DIN is a director identification number, and it's need to obtain by one who want to be the director of the company. So one director of in the director identification number is a sufficient to be a director in any number of the companies. And the third step is the name approval. To get the name approval, there are the two options. Option one, you can apply for the proposed name through the INC 32 incorporating company, and to be applied you need to have the follow name ability guidelines existing trademark to avoid rejection. And option 2 is like before filing INC 32 you may file the form INC 1 in which up to 6 name can be proposed, and then you can input the SRN to approve INC 1 into INC 32. Filing through INC 32 you use a much faster process than going by INC 1 route. The whole process include name approval and incorporation take around 2 to 3 days. If the name that you want to be difficult to get because there are the companies with similar name, you should form the INC 1 instead of the INC 32. And step 4 is form INC 32. Ministry of the Corporate Affairs and Ministry of the Company Affairs recently introduced the INC 32 with the simplified pro forma for the incorporating a company electronically. It serves the following purpose with the benefit of the single application for the allotment of the DIN, director identification number, and reservation of the company name, incorporation of the new company prior to pay May 2015. The registration of the company is required the filling of the several documents such as DIR3, the acquiring the DIN director identification number. INC1 is obtaining the name. INC7 is the for registering the company with the memorandum and article of the association. INC22 for the registered office, and finally DIR12 for the directors. Now all of these forms have been merged together. The digital signature of the professional is required to file the form INC 32. The professional must certify that all the information given in the form is correct, and the professional can be chartered accountant, company secretary, and cost accountant are the advocate. Step 5 is a INC 32 and INC 34. INC 33 refer to the electronic memorandum for the association of the INC 34 to Electronic Article of Association. These forms have introduced to simplicity the process of the company registration, and memorandum represent the charters and company who will article of the association content, internal rule and regulation of the company. So earlier memorandums of the association and article of the association were required to be filled. Sorry, but now these form are filled online, so we can fill this form by the MCA portal as a linked form with the INC 32. Both these forms must digitally signed by the subscriber of the memorandum and article of the association. Now step 6 is a PAN and TAN application. This is the last step for the company registration process, and the PAN and TAN application through the single form INC 32. You can also apply for the company PAN and TAN by using form 49A and 49B for 10. The system will auto generate these forms after the submission of the INC 32 form. All of you have to do download it, affix the digital signature, and upload the both form to on the MCA portal. If all the details in the forms are duty filled along with the required documents, MCA will approve the registration, and the corporate identity number that we know as a CIN will allocated, and you also track the CIN online on the MCA portal. if there are the more than 7 subscriber on the MOU, memorandum association and article of association of PLC, following forms have to fill it. In the case of the you want to register your company as a private limited, then this episode is sponsored by Entrepreneur Line Legal. I will give the link of the company in the description box, so you can check out through there, and they will help you to for each and everything related product and services related to company registration. Entrepreneur Line Legal is doing these things in the from the having the experience of the 3 years, so they will help you to do these things at on the digital basis.